Alright, in this video we are going to go over a bone of contention between instrumentalists and DJs, and you'll see why I describe those differently in a second, because this video is all about, are DJs musicians? So this gets thrown around a lot between various artists, instrumentalists that play guitars and drums or real instruments, and then DJs who use electronic equipment. So a DJ is someone who plays music and mixes tracks together to create a vibe, which a band does. But a band writes music and performs it, whereas a DJ is playing pre-recorded music that often they have not written themselves. So in this case, is a DJ a musician? No, unfortunately not for them. But there's a bit of crossover here. So not all DJs produce their own music, but a lot do. Certainly the most famous DJs do produce their own music. So then, does that mean a producer is a musician? And the answer to that is sometimes, not all of them. There are producers that admit to fully just clicking around in the software until they found sounds they like, and then they will produce their track from there. So they understand the technical side of using the software, but they're not musically trained or classically trained. So are they a musician? Probably not really in this case. It's not as if you could then put them with a band and have them jam, for example. You need to know a level of music theory to do that. However, there are classically trained producers out there. Zedd would be a perfect example. He started learning the piano when he was 4 years old. So that gives him an edge when he's producing tracks, because he's able to sit down with his software and a keyboard and can have an idea in his head and then just replicate that because he knows what to play. So are producers musicians? Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes you will actually see this in the real world, in live gigs as well. So a good example of this is Chase and Status, who got famous for being DJs and dance music producers. But as they got super famous, they started doing live shows, and they will actually come out front and play bits of guitar, and they'll be playing elements live. So in this case, although they're famous for being DJs, they most definitely are musicians as well. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat here, because normal DJs just blend tracks together and, using the equipment, create seamless mixes. But then you have turntablists or scratch DJs. And these are actually creating sounds with the mixers and cutting and scratching bits in. So therefore, they are actually using the decks more as an instrument than just a media player. For example, when a DJ is just pressing play, that's another video that we'll do. But when a DJ is pressing play and then mixing between tracks, they're using these as media players. However, when a scratch DJ or turntablist is actually manipulating the sound, then they're really using it as an instrument. So in this case, the water's a bit more muddy. It's a bit of a grey area, because they are creating sounds, they're creating tunes live. A great example of this is DJ Woody, and he will take one track and then, say, a trumpet of another, and using that, and by manipulating the platter and the speeds, he'll be creating an entirely new tune, like not played by anyone else who doesn't have that skills or, can't replicate what he does. So in this case, I would argue that turntablists are musicians. So like all good questions, and probably why this debate just rages on and on, is because there is no clear-cut answer. Some DJs are musicians, whether it's by having classical training, or whether they are a turntablist who is manipulating sounds and using the decks as an instrument. And then you do have the pure DJs who have learnt all of their music theory through DJing alone. And I would argue in that sense that no, DJs are not musicians. So this was just a very quick overview. There is a lot more detail if you are interested on the website. Go to bestdjsetup.com/musicians and you will see the argument fully laid out and you can decide for yourself. So thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are DJs musicians? It's a hot topic.